It can very clearly be argued at this point that we as a species have become a victim of our own success. Some of the hardest, most complex, most difficult to resolve issues that we as a species now face are a direct result of our own progress, ironically enough. Look, for example, at the way in which we conceptualize ourselves, the way in which we conceptualize mental health issues. We see ourselves as being fundamentally weak, fundamentally flawed, fundamentally incapable. Why? I would claim that this is a negative feedback loop that's coming back from our own affluence. Because we won, because we fixed starvation, because we fixed child mortality, because you won't die of some strange gum disease at the age of 12 down a coal mine, we have stuff, we have things, we have money, we have the capacity to trade, the capacity to buy. We have so much stuff and so much capacity to buy things. Is that the problem? No. It creates an environment, though, in which causing people to part with their money to buy things they don't need is profitable. What does it mean when we say something is profitable? It means nothing more than saying you're winning the game. So the people, the persons, the entities, the bodies, the corpus, the corporations that come together, these Frankenstein entities on steroids, these titans, these monsters that march across the earth, bellowing at people that they need. You must have, you are nothing without the special double glipply thing that costs you £9.99 but is only available for the next 16 seconds. It puts the human being listening to these messages day in, day out, 24/7, with no escape, in a hyper-propagandized state. You're constantly being told you are not enough. You're constantly being told you are sick, you are weak, you need the thing. What is the thing that you need? Well, it's that which is profitable to the person who's giving you the message. Now, is it always actually a thing? Well, you could argue it's never the thing itself. This is commodity fetishism. This is object fetishism. The thing itself, I mean, my God, we don't live in medieval times. It's not like you go, well, my horse's front right shoe fell off. I need another horseshoe. Why? So I can continue to ride the horse. That's the thing in itself. No, now you would need the Nike Air One Super Double Bling horseshoe with the picture of the famous person and glowing lights up the side. Why? Because it's not the thing itself. Now we purchase status. Now we are purchasing a little step up the monkey dominance hierarchy so we can signal to the other monkeys. Now, in any system of human interaction at the social, economic and cultural level, a little bit of this would be fine. A little bit of this, we would have like a discretionary account for how much nonsense we could put up with, for how much affluenza-based, status-seeking nonsense behavior we could indulge in. But that is not the case. We don't have a little discretionary account on the side for a little bit of flim-flam and a little bit of posing. No, the entire system is totally addicted to flim-flam and posturing. If you tried to walk this back now, and you, under my benevolent dictatorship, which is coming, my friends, I would say to the corporations, you are now not allowed to tell people that they must buy and they must buy quickly. It's against the law. And in fact, you are only allowed to sell people the things they need. I don't want to hear about selling people the things that they want. They're only allowed the things that they need. It would be a rather drab society. There would be no bling. There would be no colors to anything because you don't need color. The cars would be colorless. And they would be simple. They would be simple machines that allowed you to go from one place to another. And probably under my benevolent fascist socialist dictatorship, you would be forced to share them so that we're burning less fossil fuel and so that we're doing less damage to the environment and so on. Imagine that world. Imagine how drab and grey everything would be. Imagine how taking the flair on the sheen off everything would seem to us very drab and grey. But it only seems to us so drab and grey because we're so hyper-stimulated. We're told from birth again and again and again, multiple marketing messages are hitting your eyes and your ears every day. People themselves are walking advertisement boards. They don't even need to hit your eyes with an advert. They just sell these meaningless products to the slaves, and then the products are carried around, and the brand of the product is carried around by the slave himself or herself. So you see me wearing the special branded t-shirt and the funky sneakers. Now you need to have that. You see me driving the special branded car in the nice color. Now you need that. I, as a good little slave, do their slave work for them. I promote this object fetishism on their behalf. Why? Because I, as the individual, I'm also trying to get my little monkey foot one step slightly higher up the ladder of the dominance hierarchy. I'm also trying to purchase status. Now, in order to make these sales of things that the mass of humanity doesn't need, but that they want, you have to bombard them with a message. You are not enough. You need this drug. You need this t-shirt. You need this many followers. You need this thing. And when we say thing, as I say, it's not necessarily the thing itself. It's not necessarily a hard object that you could see and smell and touch that's made up of molecules. The thing can be a symbolic thing. So it's not necessarily that the signifier is pointing to anything at all. The signifier could be pointing back to itself. This then creates a kind of relationship between commodity fetishism and narcissism, because there is a pornography to narcissism in and of itself. There's an obscenity to it. I am climbing the dominance hierarchy, not so that I can do anything with that, or so that I can become a benevolent dictator, or so that I can be an amazing charity worker or a psychologist or help the future of humanity move forward. No, I'm doing it for its own sake. That's the obscenity of it. That's the pornography of it. So object fetishism, affluence, affluenza, and narcissism are perfectly in a sort of a symbiotic relationship of mutual support, acceleration, and growth, because they work hand in glove with each other. They are actually part of the same system. We could say, oh, well, that would indicate that human narcissism is a root cause of this. Yes, in a certain sense, because narcissism functions like commodity fetishism, because it's not about the person themselves. It's about the image that that person projects outward to the world. And that's what you as a consumer or partner or follower of a narcissist is buying into. You're buying into not the steak, but the sizzle on the steak. So you're not buying into anything that has any authenticity or genuine value, but the appearance of it. And at some point in this circus that we as human beings have created for ourselves, the image began to supersede the thing itself. I mean, that is narcissism in a nutshell, functions in exactly the same way as consumer capitalist commodity fetishism. You're not buying the thing itself, buying as in investing in, or because you could say you're buying by investing time and attention into somebody who's a narcissistic personality. Maybe they're in your life. Maybe it's a lover, maybe it's a partner, or it could be a celebrity who you never actually meet. But when you offer them your time and your attention, as you're offering me yours now, you're buying into what? An idea, an image, a concept, something that would be very, very hard to define. It's certainly not something you can pick up in your hand. But the result of all this, in order for that to function, in order for this narcissistic system to self-perpetuate, the mass of people must be walking around in submission with heads bowed. They must be driven mad, in effect, broken psychologically, until they're in a truly trauma-bonded, codependent state. Codependent with who? Codependent with what? Well, eventually we can become codependent with reality itself because we have no individualized agency. There is no internalized locus of control. We're so broken, so propagandized to, and so brainwashed that all of our sense of self goes external. We have no self. We only have a sense of self. Where is the sense of self drawn from? The feedback we receive from others. And so we invest more in signaling, more in posturing, more into the very thing that broke us in the first place. In order to try and get out, we start feeding the beast even more. In this twisted logic, we think that's the way out. It would be like trying to come off heroin by ingesting more heroin at greater dosages and effectively making ourselves sicker and sicker. So I want to say this. It's an illusion. By definition, that is not a grandiose or hyperbolic claim. This is an illusion-based system. You won't find a psychologist or an economist who disagrees with that. It's illusion. It's illusory, which means it's a trick. It's a trick of your perceptions. You can take that perceptual filter back. You can say, I'm not investing in this. I'm not sick. I'm not weak. I don't need these things. I don't have to perform. I don't have to rely on the perceptions and the approval of other people to have a sense of self. I can just sit on my own in a room and be me, naturally, authentically, and spontaneously. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for offering me your time and attention, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.